Shinbin King was completely unsettled this time, and couldn't help but scold. "Bastard, all of you must pull yourselves together." Liang Maple immediately gritted his teeth in anger. "I absolutely cannot let the teacher lose the bet. It looks like I can only use this power." After swallowing the purple thing, an eerie purple light immediately emanated from Liang Maple's body. Sensing the power surging in him, Liang Maple immediately grinned and said, "I feel the power. The terrifying heart demon has resurfaced." And with one punch, he sent no spiritual root flying. Just now, Liang Maple secretly took a hidden potion, forcibly enhancing his own strength by 1 level. He knew he couldn't fully absorb the power within it. Just a little should be enough to win. The competition time is approaching. He can't give Mystic Heaven Academy any more chances. No spiritual root and Fatty feel that they will definitely win the competition if things continue like this. After Instructor Unspoken Courtesy serves the ball, Xiao took the lead and rushed out to grab the spiritual chi ball. He did not want no spiritual root to keep stealing the spotlight. He decided that he needed to score a goal himself. When he saw the opponent couldn't keep up with him, he immediately chuckled coldly. And no spiritual root also made a very rational analysis. The cultivation level of Lungri's students is weaker than ours. Now that their spiritual energy is almost depleted, even if it's just Xiao alone, it will be difficult for them to stop it. Shortly after, Xiao rushed to the front of the goal. But Liang Maple suddenly used the Grand Earth with Divine Arts. The earth wall that rose suddenly instantly blocked Xiao. Liang Maple easily regained possession of the ball. But just as he wanted to sprint, no spiritual root once again blocked him. He decisively used rock-scale heavy armor, preparing to forcibly break through. But unexpectedly, no spiritual root was not knocked away by him. He never expected to be stopped so easily. Seeing that he couldn't match the power, he decisively used the Grand Earth with Divine Arts. As long as he gets rid of the no spiritual root, no one can stop him. But then he found that he couldn't continue moving forward. It turns out that no spiritual root picked up the stone pillar. The fatty hurriedly signaled, "No spiritual root," to throw Liang Maple to their goal post. The next second, Liang Maple couldn't stop himself from heading towards their own goal post. He knew that continuing like this would definitely result in an own goal. Helpless, he once again forcefully activated the power within his body and used the technique of Stone Armored Giant to forcibly increase his weight. He first made the stone giant force no spiritual root to retreat. Then he wanted to take the opportunity to score a goal. But White Blossom and Wintry Mix also rushed out at this time, although both of them tried their best to stop it. However, they were easily bounced away by the stone-armored giant. The fat man quickly reminded them to attack the giant. This is the only way to stop him. No spiritual root immediately unleashed a full power punch towards the stone-armored giant, and with terrifying force, the giant was instantly smashed into pieces. Liang Maple immediately cursed loudly upon landing. "Why do you always block me?" No spiritual root looked serious and said, "Because I want to win." In order to win, Liang Maple once again activated the Mystic Chi and rushed out fiercely. But no spiritual root stood firmly in front of him, and the next moment, both parties unconsciously fell backwards. The spiritual Chi ball was also bounced up in the air. No spiritual root took the opportunity to use celestial arts and launched straight up, wanting to snatch the ball away. Liang Maple immediately gritted his teeth upon seeing this, saying firmly, "I cannot let my teacher lose face." A dreadful demonic chi suddenly burst out from his body. Just in an instant, Liang Maple had been demonized. Then he suddenly bent down. At the moment when no spiritual root just caught the ball, he flew over to his side. Then he fiercely swung his fist, smashing it onto no spiritual root's body. He directly punched no spiritual root and the fatty, sending them flying. The boy not only withstood Hard Demon's full force attack with his physical body, and he also prevented others from interfering, intending to win the match. Just now, Liang Maple has completely transformed into a demon. He directly punched no spiritual root and sent them flying. He is just too eager for victory. He grabs the spiritual chi ball and rushes towards the goal, but no spiritual root is not willing to give up in order to cultivate resources. So he charges out again, determined not to let Liang Maple get this last point. Liang Maple is completely enraged this time. He directly smashed the spiritual chi ball on his body. Instantly, a terrifying energy explosion erupted in the field. But no spiritual root firmly used his body to block this ball. Even if tomato sauce overflowed from his mouth, he had no intention of stepping back. Little Jade immediately became angry and wanted to rush in upon seeing the situation. But no spiritual root shouted, "Don't come in, the competition is not over yet," and popped out his chest. Furthermore, he took the opportunity to snatch away the spiritual chi ball. Now Liang Maple is completely confused. He never expected no spiritual root to be this strong. And no spiritual root decisively raised his hand quickly. He fiercely threw the spiritual chi ball towards the opponent's goal. Although the goalkeeper managed to catch the ball, he couldn't withstand the power on it, and was directly sent flying out. The onlookers were instantly shocked with their mouths wide open. You should know that even a nascent soul stage cultivator cannot use such powerful spiritual chi. At this moment, the match officially comes to an end. Mystic Heaven Academy has defeated Lungrise Academy with a score of 11-10. Liang Maple was stunned. He didn't expect to lose the match in front of his teacher. And Celestial Pathfinder quickly reminded, "Your disciple has been invaded by the heart demon." But Shinbin King suddenly spurted out a mouthful of ketchup. Then he explained in frustration, "I have always demanded cautious behavior from him. Why does he still act like this?" But Celestial Pathfinder replied with profound meaning, "Maybe it's because you are too strict." And this ending is obviously something Liang Maple cannot accept. An even more powerful demonic chi erupted from within him in an instant. He instantly stepped into the Golden Core stage cultivation level. Celestial Pathfinder was shocked when he saw it. It turned out to be a hard demon formed after breaking through the Golden Core stage. Now we really can't save him. Instructor Unspoken Courtesy, I still need to take care of old Shin. Quickly go stop him. Instructor Unspoken Courtesy immediately jumped into the field. He is very straightforward and directly activates Sandy Bag's sacred body. Just like that, he withstood Liang Maple's heavy punch straight on. But what he didn't expect was that it was just a punch. Instructor Unspoken Courtesy actually passed out. Liang Maple then shouted, "The game is not over yet, continue." At this moment, Little Jade and Murong Chan rushed into the field, expressing their intention to protect no spiritual root. Seeing the opponent's people wanting to prevent them from winning, Liang Maple directly reached out and patted the ground. Grand Earthwood Divine Arts instantly condensed countless weapons that attacked everyone, just for a moment. Except for no spiritual root, all were firmly pressed to the ground. He watched as the obstructing person had already been taken care of. Liang Maple immediately raised no spiritual root and scoffed, "Before I win, you must continue to compete with me." Spirit Jade on the side quickly held his arm and advised, "Big senior brother, you just lost a game. Don't force yourself like this." But Liang Maple directly pushed him away angrily, saying, "It's because of you useless people that I lost the game. Now that those who were blocking us are gone, I want to compete with you alone." The boy, in order to no longer waste time, he finally activated the exploding clothes mode and chose to take action directly. Just now, the demonized Liang Maple actually requested a one-on-one duel with no spiritual root. Although the people from Lungrise want him to regain his sanity. But Liang Maple directly told him to shut up. Then he let no spiritual root continue to compete with him. However, White Blossom and others are ready to team up to stop him. But Xiao Firefire is hiding in the dark and has no intention of taking action. Because he believes that only when no spiritual root is killed can he become a true chosen one. although White Blossom used the Mystic Sword Sovereign Art with all her might. But the cultivation level of the Golden Core stage is not something they can match. The Grand Earth with Divine Arts make it completely impossible for others to get close. Because her weapon was taken away, she felt a little helpless for a while. White Blossom had no choice but to let Instructor Unspoken Courtesy return the spiritual sword to him. But Liang Maple was impatient, and used Rock Python to knock the two of them away. But just then, Little Jade quietly rushed to his side. She directly used the mental spell enchanting Bone Demon Sound, and then transmitted a mental message. Now you still have a chance to turn back. If you let your heart demon go further, there will be no turning back. Think carefully about the many important things in this world. Don't get lost in a moment of impulsiveness. The moment the words fell, Liang Maple immediately erupted with demonic chi, roaring, I will win! That is the most important thing! Then he once again unleashed the Grand Earth with Divine Arts. He used earth walls to forcefully block off a narrow path. Even White Blossom is completely unable to break through this earth wall, and the rock wall is very high with no footholds to climb up. Liang Maple impatiently urged, Get rid of the obstructive fellows. Hurry up and continue the game with me until I win. No spiritual root picked up the spiritual chi ball unsteadily upon hearing this. But due to the intense pain in his body, he knelt down directly. Liang Maple smiled instantly when she saw the scene. It seems I have overestimated you. In that case, you just watch obediently as I win the victory. But no spiritual root firmly said, I'm sorry, I must win this match. Liang Maple was too lazy to waste words, and directly used Solid Earth Cage. After trapping no spiritual root, he then took away the spiritual chi ball. At this moment, no spiritual root suddenly spoke. The Inter-Academy competition is over now, right? Since it's already over, I can take action directly. Just as he finished speaking, no spiritual root immediately stood up and activated his burst clothing mode. Liang Maple was suddenly shocked at the sight. How is this possible? Stop boasting here and taste my 1,000-hand combo. As soon as he finished speaking, several stone arms shot up from the ground and attacked no spiritual root. In an instant, the location of no spiritual root was fiercely bombarded by stone fists. Seeing this scene, Liang Maple immediately burst into laughter. I thought there was some kind of skill, but it was resolved with just one move. But no spiritual root was completely unharmed, with an indifferent expression on his face, saying, Sorry, I don't want to waste time. I'll just end this farce. After saying, No spiritual root, he suddenly broke free from the shackles of the rocks and unleashed the Celestial Arts' full power punch directly. Liang Maple was caught off guard and immediately got punched in the face. Even with his Golden Core stage cultivation level, he couldn't withstand the blow at all. He was directly punched hard and sent flying, crashing onto the huge rock wall nearby. Dean Lungrise actually personally took action to kill his own beloved disciple. But unexpectedly, the boy took action to stop him. Just now, no spiritual root used full power punch to knock Liang Maple away. However, this punch completely depleted his strength as well. His body couldn't help but soften and fall backward. It turns out that he was so hungry that his legs were weak, and he had no strength left. Murong-chan quickly took out a large chicken leg and walked over. She crazily stuffed it into no spiritual root's mouth. White Blossom didn't expect that the personal disciple of the head of Lungrise Academy would actually be taken over by a demon cultivator. And Instructor Unspoken Courtesy suddenly appeared beside the three, calmingly saying, With me here, even a demon cultivator has nothing to fear. Don't think you're impressive just because you managed to sneak attack me earlier. As soon as the words fell, Liang Maple suddenly sprang up from the ground. But she was easily caught by Instructor Unspoken Courtesy. But unexpectedly, Liang Maple suddenly felt a surge in her stomach. He directly sprayed Instructor Unspoken Courtesy in the face. Angry, he immediately punched Liang Maple and sent him flying. At the moment when Liang Maple fell to the ground, that strange crystal suddenly grew arms and legs, trying to escape. But little Jade suddenly flashed out and caught it. Then she furrowed her brows slightly. Sure enough, it was a hard demon induced by humans. Soon after, she directly burned that crystal to ashes. The people of Lungrise saw Liang Maple return to normal. Several people quickly stepped forward to help him up. Shinbin King also fell from the high platform. Spirit Jade quickly urged, "Master, you arrived just in time. Please hurry and treat Big Senior Brother." But Shinbin King just stood quietly on the side. Then he asked sternly, "Why did you do this?" Liang Maple replied simply, "I don't want to lose, and I don't want to disappoint you, Master. Even if I can't turn back, I don't want to see my teacher losing the bet." Shinbin King immediately sighed. Lungrise Academy has always been inferior to Mystic Heaven Academy. There is a reason for that. Take Spirit Jade down for me. Shinbin King then uses the Grand Earth with divine arts to condense a giant sword. Then he speaks again, asking, "Our master-disciple relationship has come to this. Tell me, who gave you that thing? I will make it swift for you." Liang Maple immediately confessed truthfully that the person was wearing a mask, and she was not sure who he really was. But he told her that the spiritual Dan could instantly increase her strength. Upon hearing this, Celestial Pathfinder immediately spoke up and said that the person should be Sima Moon. And Shinbin King's tone turned melancholic as he said, "I was originally mocking your sect for having issues. I never thought that our own disciple had long been infiltrated by a demon cultivator. In the next life, I will guide you again." Just at this critical moment, a pair of hands suddenly caught the giant sword. He saw that no spiritual root actually caught his weapon empty-handed. Shinbin King couldn't help but feel surprised. "How can he catch my full-force blow? What kind of monster has Mystic Heaven Academy produced?" No spiritual root sneered and said, "Sorry, I got excited and rushed in to stop it." Shinbin King immediately felt unhappy and said in a bad tone, "He has become a demon cultivator and wants to kill you. It seems like you have no reason to stop me, right?" But no spiritual root said sincerely that even if he falls into demonic cultivation, all he wants is to compete with me and not disappoint his master. It seems like he does not want to harm anyone, right? It's just that he becomes aggressive because of his strong desire to win. I think this may not be so good. Shinbin King sighed immediately and said, "This time, I have lost completely. I would like to concede defeat. Lungrise Academy will now become a branch of Mystic Heaven Academy starting today. As for this demon cultivator, you Mystic Heaven Academy can handle it on your own." Celestial Pathfinder patted his shoulder upon hearing this. Then he turned around and slapped him. "You are basically passing the buck to me, aren't you? Currently, with the addition of Liang Maple, there are already 3 unstable factors in the Academy. Is it really impossible to contain the appearance of the hard demon?" Later, Celestial Pathfinder solemnly said, "Since Lungrise has become a branch campus of Mystic Heaven Academy, it must obey the orders of our headmaster. My first order is to move the entire Lungrise Academy to Mystic Heaven Academy." The girl actually barged into the headmaster's office. He only wanted to participate in the mission with the boy. Just now, Celestial Pathfinder issued an order to move Lungrise Academy to Mystic Heaven. Shinbin King is very puzzled by this, and doesn't know what Celestial Pathfinder is trying to do. And Celestial Pathfinder has also given an explanation. The reason for asking you to move is to conveniently monitor all the people affected by the hard demon. If we don't tighten control over the situation more, we, as righteous future students, will be completely infiltrated by demon cultivators if we don't tighten our control over the situation. So placing all the students under close supervision is the best approach for now. At the same time, little Jade has already arrived outside the door in order to claim the reward. She kicked open the door in a domineering manner and loudly said, "Elder Celestial, you promised us the reward should be given now." But unexpectedly, this kick directly knocked over Celestial Pathfinder. No spiritual root quickly stepped forward to help Celestial Pathfinder up. But little Jade impatiently said, "Hurry up and bring out the promised reward. You didn't forget, did you? If we win the game, we can get a gold medal," said no spiritual root, feeling a little embarrassed. "I heard that the gold medal can be exchanged for anything you want. Can I ask for more cultivate resources?" Celestial Pathfinder immediately started thinking deeply. If there is no spiritual root and I provide resources for a breakthrough, it may lead to a hard demon outbreak, which would be disastrous. He then sighed and said, "This condition is not a problem, but the Academy has just been attacked by a demon cultivator, so we really can't provide more spiritual stones. If you really want spiritual stone resources, we in Lungri's Academy recently discovered a large spiritual stone vein. Unfortunately, Yogwai beasts run rampant there. Our disciples sent to collect spiritual or all met a tragic end at the hands of Yogwai beasts. How serious? Perhaps it's time to give up. You should consider changing the terms." Celestial Pathfinder was stunned when the two of them turned around to leave. "Are you just going to leave without changing the conditions?" But no spiritual root chuckled and said, "No need to change. Let's go to the spiritual or right now." Celestial Pathfinder immediately panicked. That spiritual or is guarded by many Yogwai beasts, and demon cultivators love to subdue Yogwai beasts for their own use. You must carefully consider this. Just at that moment, White Blossom suddenly kicked the door open and interrupted. "No need to consider any more. Since it can attract demon cultivators, we must eradicate it." Recently, the demon cultivators have been repeatedly provoking and attacking the righteous cultivators. They are so rampant that we must eliminate them completely. Do you think what I said is correct? But why doesn't Dean Celestial Pathfinder give me a response? No spiritual root immediately felt embarrassed and said, "He has been suppressed by you." Immediately, Celestial Pathfinder got up and ran, roaring, "I had just fixed the door, and now you've ruined it again. Collecting spiritual or without permission is too dangerous for you. I disagree with you going there without authorization." Just then, Shinbin King suddenly patted his shoulder and whispered, "I think it's also a good idea to let them collect spiritual oregon." But Celestial Pathfinder is very worried, as they all have seeds of hard demon on them. Letting them go over is basically sending them into the mouths of the demon cultivators. But Shinbin King proposed a suggestion. Since the demon cultivators are targeting them, why don't we use this as a starting point? We can use these children as bait to lure Sima Moon out, and then capture him in one fell swoop. The latest research has developed a teleportation compass that uses yellow, green, and red. If there is danger, we can immediately teleport people over. Upon hearing this, Celestial Pathfinder took out a few compasses and said, "Since you want to explore the spiritual or take these compasses with you. If you encounter a demon cultivator, be sure to contact us." After receiving the compass, White Blossom exclaimed excitedly, "Let's set off now to eliminate demons and monsters." Celestial Pathfinder, however, still had some concerns, thinking it might be too dangerous to let only the three youngsters go. But Shinbin King signaled, "I will naturally send someone over as well." The ones sent over were none other than Liang Maple and Spirit Jade. White Blossom was immediately puzzled. Why do we have to go collect spiritual or with them? I don't feel safe acting together with someone who can be easily controlled by a demon cultivator. Little Jade couldn't help but secretly complain upon hearing this. "Weren't you also controlled before?" Liang Maple suddenly spoke sincerely. "I was confused before, so this time Shifu hopes I can make amends for my mistakes." "I'm really sorry for what I did to no spiritual root before, especially." He saw no spiritual root remain silent. Liang Maple immediately sighed and said, "Indeed, I knew you wouldn't forgive me easily." But unexpectedly, no spiritual root suddenly vomited towards him. Then he weakly said, "Sorry, I get motion sickness." The boy publicly exposed that he was living with two beautiful women. This bold move instantly stunned everyone present. Just now, no spiritual root kept vomiting uncontrollably due to motion sickness. Spirit Jade is quite puzzled about this. After all, you are a cultivator. How could you get motion sickness even when riding in a horse carriage? Spiritual root can't possibly be attributed to the after effects of crossing over. So he chuckled and said, "This is my problem. Why don't I just run behind the carriage?" Upon hearing this, everyone got back on the carriage again, with no spiritual root following closely behind. Spirit Jade immediately sneered, "Are all of you from Mystic Heaven Academy so full of yourselves?" The horse pulling this carriage is indeed a 1,000-stride spirit horse. Even a nascent soul cultivator may not be able to catch up once it starts running. Saying that no spiritual root wants to follow behind is not just talking big. But when she looked back at the carriage, she was surprised to find no spiritual root actually caught up with the carriage. Little Jade immediately proudly said, "Brother spiritual roots, physical fitness is not what you can imagine." White Blossom, seeing this, couldn't help but secretly mutter to herself, "Is it because Brother No Spiritual Root is so strong because he trains like this every day?" Thinking of this, White Blossom directly jumped off the carriage and expressed that she also wants to cultivate in this way. She feels that as long as she cultivates like no spiritual root, she will eventually have that kind of terrifying power. But White Blossom was already out of breath after running for a while, and no spiritual root saw this and quickly reminded her, "Why don't you go back to the carriage?" At this moment, Spirit Jade teased, "I have no objection to you running with him, but at this speed, it may take a month to reach the mine." White Blossom has already cracked at this point. "I am clearly the first talent of the Sword Sovereign Peak in history. How come I can't cultivate like no spiritual root?" No spiritual root suddenly spoke up, "If you really want to follow me, I have a way. If I lift the entire carriage like this, the speed will slow down a bit. It won't be so strenuous for you to run alongside." White Blossom was instantly moved upon seeing this scene. He considered my feelings and could actually come up with such a method. But no spiritual root inappropriately interrupted, saying, "Why are you still standing there? Hurry up and follow along." White Blossom immediately quickened her pace upon hearing this. This little difficulty cannot stop her from becoming stronger. And no spiritual root also spoke out in praise, saying, "That's how you keep the rhythm. You have a natural talent for fitness. That's how people keep running non-stop." But what no spiritual root didn't notice is that he entered the intersection of Flowing Water Town. After running for a long time, no spiritual root suddenly heard a shout that made him stop. No spiritual root immediately looked towards White Blossom, who then indicated that she could continue running. But Spirit Jade couldn't stand it anymore. "Are you both okay? We have already vomited out the food we ate the day before yesterday." Seeing this scene, no spiritual root quickly released the carriage. Liang Maple quickly suggested finding an inn to rest. Spirit Jade took out the map and said as they walked, "At our speed, there should be a town nearby. If we are not mistaken, we should be in Floating Cloud City now." However, what appeared before their eyes was Flowing Water Town. Spirit Jade instantly cracked open. What happened? Did we take the wrong road? No spiritual root suddenly exclaimed, "Must have taken the wrong path before." Liang Maple no longer hesitated and decided to find an inn to rest first. After finding the inn, he decisively stated that he wanted to book 2 rooms. When the shop assistant led the way, no spiritual root bid farewell, saying, "We'll go rest first. See you tomorrow." Liang Maple suddenly stopped him and said, "Wait a minute. Shouldn't the 2 rooms be separated for men and women? Why are you going upstairs with him?" No spiritual root was speechless. "Because the 3 of us originally lived together." Liang Maple and Spirit Jade were both stunned by this. They couldn't figure out what the relationship was between the 3 of them at all. And as soon as no spiritual root entered the room, he took out a big chicken leg. "These are the food senior sister Morone gave. Do you want to eat some?" White Blossom is not hungry. He continued exercising while eating the chicken leg. But just at that moment, White Blossom suddenly spoke up, interrupting, "Is the way you get stronger really just this so-called exercise of lifting iron. When you have no spiritual root, the girl diligently practices the fitness techniques taught by the boy. But she didn't expect that she actually triggered the heart demon in her body. Just now, White Blossom attempted to use the method of immortal cultivation from no spiritual root. However, it had no effect at all. No spiritual root can only be reluctantly interpreted as possibly due to one's unique constitution. White Blossom bowed solemnly and said, "No matter what, I will not give up the opportunity to become stronger. Please make sure to teach me how to become stronger." No spiritual root felt helpless upon seeing this. "Don't be like this. It's actually just simple physical exercises. Learning is not difficult, but maintaining consistency is the challenging part." He then threw the dumbbell in his hand for White Blossom to catch. But the dumbbell only just landed in her hand. White Blossom found that she couldn't lift it at all. Suddenly, her face darkened as she exclaimed, "How can it be so heavy? Do you always use these heavy tools in your cultivation?" But no spiritual root proudly retorted, "How is it possible? The tools I use are slightly heavier. If you find them too heavy, then forget it. After all, my training method is not something you can learn." But White Blossom struggled to lift the dumbbells and firmly declared, "I will never let the gap widen again in any aspect. See, for someone like me, a genius, there's nothing I can't learn." No spiritual root immediately praised, "Well done! 20 movements in a set. You still have 19 left to go." White Blossom instantly felt despair. Could it be true that I really can't get stronger faster? No spiritual root curiously asked, "You are already strong enough. Why are you so determined to become even stronger?" White Blossom gritted her teeth and said, "In fact, my mother was killed by a demon cultivator, the same one who appeared on the dueling platform that day." Upon hearing this, no spiritual root quickly whispered to little Jade to inquire further. "I remember that day on the broadcasting platform. It should not have been a demon cultivator, but White Blossom's own heart demon, right?" This has thoroughly shocked no spiritual root. Does that mean that the one who killed White Blossom's mother was? He quickly apologized, saying sorry for bringing up your sadness. But White Blossom firmly replied, "It has been a long time. But from that day on, I vowed I must use this sword in my hand to slay all demon cultivators in the world. Originally, I thought that with my own talent, I could definitely achieve this goal. Until you appeared, I realized that there are people beyond people, and heavens beyond heaven. If I can't even defeat someone of the same age as you, how can I defeat the demon cultivator in this world? And I always have a feeling that the demon cultivator will continue to appear." And no spiritual root quickly turned around and said, "Then you continue to exercise and get stronger. Let's take a break first." When White Blossom started lifting dumbbells desperately, little Jade quickly whispered, "Brother spiritual root, that woman seems to have picked the wrong target for revenge." And no spiritual root quickly gestured for her to keep quiet, not to let White Blossom hear. If she knew that her actions caused her mother's death, she would definitely be devastated. The two then went to bed to rest, while White Blossom continued to endure, having already raised to 19. She became excited as she watched the goal about to be achieved. But at this moment, the strong obsession caused her heart demon to appear again, but she did not notice it. She continued to train hard, while little Jade immediately sensed the presence of demonic chi in the room. After waking up, she immediately reminded Brother Spiritual Root not to sleep anymore. It's the heart demon. No spiritual root immediately panicked upon hearing about the heart demon. Could it be that Sima Moon has arrived? Little Jade quickly pointed out that it was probably because White Blossom's obsession with becoming stronger is too intense. Now it is necessary to tell her the truth so she won't be blinded by her obsession. However, no spiritual root objected, saying that it would be too cruel for her to hear the truth right now. Let me handle the resolution of her heart demon. Upon hearing this, little Jade could only secretly sigh and say, "Brother Spiritual Root still enjoys playing the role of a bad person." Upon discovering the two, Hard Demon immediately raised his hand to attack. But no spiritual root easily dodged it. Then he raised his leg and delivered a full-force kick to its face. The immense power instantly blasted through the entire inn. Seeing the house being smashed to pieces, he immediately regretted it. He exerted too much force. This time he should have to pay a lot of money, right? And Liang Maple, who happens to live downstairs from him, is now completely furious. Can someone tell me what's going on here? The boy's goddess has been invaded by the Hard Demon. But he cannot go too hard on the Hard Demon. Thus, he found himself in a helpless situation just now because White Blossom's desire to become stronger was too strong. Her Hard Demon appeared again. Although no spiritual root suppressed it immediately, it unexpectedly caused the entire inn to be shattered due to exerting too much force. But the Hard Demon is not so easily exterminated. No spiritual root quickly signaled the shopkeeper to run away. But just at that moment, Hard Demon once again attacked him. But unexpectedly, a soil wall suddenly rose from the ground and blocked this attack. It turned out to be Liang Maple who acted in time. However, he was very shocked by the appearance of the Hard Demon. Can you tell me what's going on? But the Hard Demon used the Mystic Sword Sovereign art to condense numerous demon swords and attacked everyone again. No spiritual root quickly gestured and said, I can't explain it clearly for now. Hurry, and use the Grand Earth with divine arts to protect everyone. Liang Maple also knows how powerful the demon cultivator is. He quickly used the giant pyramid seal to control the Hard Demon. This is the most powerful sealing technique he can currently use. Even cultivators at the Golden Core stage would find it difficult to break through. But the no spiritual root has cracked. You did a good job of protecting it. But what's the matter with you sealing me and it together inside? Little Jade quickly stepped forward to persuade Brother Spiritual Root that you can definitely break the seal with your strength. Come out from inside quickly. But no spiritual root resolutely refused. No. If I break the seal, it will only cause the Hard Demon to hurt more people. So let me take care of everything. The raging Hard Demon immediately went wild, unleashing demonic chi wildly. Countless demonic chi instantly enveloped no spiritual root. But no spiritual root remained calm and composed. He used both hands to grab all the demonic chi. Then he performed the Celestial Arts Ultra High-Speed Jump Rope. Later, no spiritual root chuckled and said, Didn't you want to exercise with me before? Angry, Hard Demon immediately dashed towards no spiritual root as soon as those words were spoken. But the Ultra High-Speed Jump Rope was crazily beating on the Hard Demon. In the blink of an eye, those ropes of demonic chi wrapped around it, but the Hard Demon suddenly raised a huge hand and then abruptly slashed out a blade of demonic chi towards no spiritual root. However, no spiritual root's celestial arts body rotation skill completely dodged the demonic chi. Fortunately, he dodged quickly enough, otherwise he would have definitely been hurt badly. But unexpectedly, these demonic chi actually broke the seal tower, and the no spiritual root cracked instantly. Didn't you say that this seal was very difficult to break? Liang Maple felt somewhat helpless. The strength of this demon cultivator is definitely more than just at the Golden Core stage. Rest assured, as the disciple of the Master, I can quickly mend this gap. Grand Earth with divine arts art of spackling. In the next second, that huge gap was filled back by divine arts. But the excess putty was directly slapped onto no spiritual root's body. But before he could speak up to complain, the Hard Demon had once again rushed to his front, swiftly waving its hand, releasing another surge of demonic chi. He was now unable to dodge in time, and quickly used the barehanded blade catch technique to catch it. Then, he suddenly exerted force with both hands, and flung the magic sword to the side. Although he successfully smashed the Hard Demon onto the ceiling tower, this blow also created a big crater in the ceiling tower. Liang Maple is helpless, and can only frantically activate spiritual chi to fill the gap. But in just a moment, he couldn't stand firm. He didn't expect that only using Grand Earth with divine arts a few times would deplete his spiritual chi. Spirit Jade is feeling heartbroken now. Could you please stop the monster from causing any more destruction? Senior brother's spiritual chi consumption is too high. Now that no spiritual root is in a difficult situation, we cannot break the seal and allow the hard demon to harm more innocent people. We also cannot go too heavy-handed against the hard demon, as that may harm White Blossom. What should I do in the end? He, helpless, could only use his body to confront the attack of the hard demon. At this time, little Jade was already very anxious. Since the brother spiritual root is the hard demon, brother spiritual root, you have a way to deal with it. Don't forget your own identity. In an instant, no spiritual root fell into a stupor. My identity, I am a member of the demon clan. The boy was trying to seal the hard demon. He actually swallowed it alive. But he didn't expect White Blossom to take action and try to kill him. Just now, no spiritual root fought against hard demon, but ended up in a passive situation. But at a critical moment, little Jade suddenly reminded him not to forget his own identity. But no spiritual root was speechless. It's not like I'm a student of Mystic Heaven Academy. Even if such information is revealed, it wouldn't scare anyone. Little Jade had to reluctantly remind brother spiritual root. Don't forget. As the young master of the demon cult, as long as you seal the hard demon into your own body, you can solve this problem. But you have no spiritual root and are facing some difficulties. However, I have never cultivated evil arts before. Can it really suppress the hard demon? I didn't expect little Jade to make him believe in his own bloodline. Watching this go on is not a solution. With no spiritual root, he can only give it a try. After dodging the hard demon sword chi, he hurriedly used launch start to rush towards the hard demon without spiritual root. But with this kick, he accidentally opened a gap in the ceiling tower, and little Jade quickly transformed into a three-tailed Yogwai fox and slipped into the ceiling tower through the gap. She wants to help no spiritual root seal this hard demon. But little Jade found that no spiritual root was actually being oppressed and beaten by the hard demon. She quickly stepped forward to embrace brother spiritual root, asking, "How could you be hurt by such a thing?" No spiritual root helplessly replied, "No way. If I use all my strength, I will definitely hurt White Blossom." Little Jade was very displeased and charged straight at hard demon, wanting to separate them for handling. At the moment she charged out, she suddenly used the enchanted fox phantom. But she didn't expect the hard demon to raise a shield of demonic chi to block this attack. Little Jade had no choice but to signal no spiritual root to deal with the troublesome shield. No spiritual root rushed to the front of the shield in one go. He suddenly grabbed the shield with both hands and used the flat base power snatch to lift it directly. Little Jade took advantage of this opportunity and quickly controlled the enchanted fox phantom to rush towards White Blossom. She quickly wrapped her body around it. Then she loudly shouted towards no spiritual root, "Brother spiritual root, let's exert our force together." No spiritual root immediately understood upon hearing this and raised the shield high. At that moment, when he took advantage of the hard demon being thrown away by the immense force, little Jade quickly increased her strength to pull White Blossom out. Seeing the situation, no spiritual root quickly turned his head to signal, "I will deal with the hard demon, you protect White Blossom without hesitation." No spiritual root then raised his hand and unleashed an ultra-high-speed spiral ascension. He directly flung the hard demon and slammed it onto the top of the ceiling tower. Without the bond of the White Blossom, no spiritual root intends to have a good showdown with the hard demon. He stepped directly on the ground and instantly leaped high on the spot, rushing towards the hard demon to kill. But unexpectedly, the hard demon unleashed the heaven-splitting sword strike at this moment. Little Jade quickly reminded brother spiritual root to be safe and to stay close to him so that they could seal him using the body of the demon cultivator. But what the two did not notice was that White Blossom suddenly woke up at this moment. And no spiritual root had already gathered all his strength, using the one force to break all arts. He simply punched through the body of the hard demon. The originally indestructible seal tower was shattered by the force of the punch. Little Jade quickly spoke up when she saw this, reminding Brother's spiritual root to seal it now. Upon hearing this, No spiritual root quickly grabbed all the surrounding demonic chi. Then he used the celestial arts art of dough kneading to knead it into a ball. After kneading the heart demon into a bread-sized, he directly stuffed it into his mouth and swallowed it into his stomach like that. The department of finishing off was immediately a bit confused. It should be sealed like this, but it tastes weird when eaten. However, just at this moment, a sharp sword suddenly held against his neck. It turned out that the one drawing the sword was White Blossom, who had just regained consciousness. She suddenly asked with a serious expression, "No spiritual root, you are a demon cultivator, right?" Here it comes, the continuation of the story of physical immortal cultivation, no spiritual root. Recently, many viewers have been asking me where to watch the continuation of No Spiritual Root, so I'll take this opportunity to address it here for everyone. First, click on the subscribe button below the video, and then turn on the little bell. You will then be able to receive my updates in a timely manner. Then, classify and click on Comics, type in Physics Immortal Cultivation 20,000 Years in the search bar, and you will be able to view the subsequent content. The comics are updated weekly. If you enjoy reading my explanations, please be patient as I will continue to keep them updated. The boy could never have imagined that he would be pinned to the ground and rubbed by the goddess. Just now, White Blossom discovered the issue of No Spiritual Root being a demon cultivator. Faced with her questioning, No Spiritual Root immediately panicked and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? I am just a junior disciple without even a spiritual root. How could I have anything to do with being a demon cultivator?" But White Blossom angrily retorted, "Stop lying to me. Although I was controlled by the demon cultivator just now, my consciousness was still relatively clear. I heard the conversation between you and the fox demon just now. You are clearly the young master of the demon cult. I finally understand the reason I couldn't train like you before. The reason is that these are all moves of the demon cultivator. You clearly know that I hate demon cultivators the most, yet you kept hiding and playing tricks on me. Is this really fun for you? Of course, demon cultivators are all like this. A group of monsters that only bring pain to others. Let me end your life." Although No Spiritual Root avoided this sword, but White Blossom completely ignored his explanation and wielded the sword at him frantically. She saw that she couldn't even touch No Spiritual Root. White Blossom decisively used the deliberate heartless sword technique from the sword manual. The space here is too narrow, hindering No Spiritual Root's evasive maneuvers. He had no choice but to first escape before making a plan. Then, he decisively used the flower hand helicopter technique to quickly soar into the air. He was just about to make it out, but he did not expect that the gap would suddenly be blocked. The exit was blocked. With No Spiritual Root, he could only helplessly fall down, but White Blossom struck at him once again with a heartless sword at this moment. With No Spiritual Root, there is no way out at the moment. He could only resort to using the barehanded blade catch to tough it out. But he found that his arm was actually starting to turn pitch black. White Blossom immediately smiled when she saw the situation. Heartless sword is the essence of my inner resolve. The despair in my heart will also be transmitted to everything around through this sword. No Spiritual Root feels like he can't exert any strength in his hands. Seeing that they couldn't continue to stalemate, he decisively threw White Blossom up. The throw immediately smashed White Blossom onto the top of the tower. The just repaired top of the tower was instantly blown open. But before No Spiritual Root could catch his breath, White Blossom attacked again. As she brought down the long sword in her hand, No Spiritual Root was instantly stabbed to the ground by her. With a determined gaze, White Blossom pulled out the sword, tears in her eyes, and said, "Although you have been very kind to me before, I'm sorry. Demon Cultivator deserves to die." As soon as she finished speaking, the sword in White Blossom's hand immediately stabbed towards No Spiritual Root's neck. Just then, a fox tail suddenly appeared out of thin air. Little Jade blocked the fatal blow for no spiritual root. White Blossom immediately snorted when she saw this, saying, "You, a fox spirit, who is in cahoots with a demon cultivator, are really not a good person." But before she could finish speaking, Little Jade flew to her side. She viciously raised her hand and gave her a slap across the face, then quickly used her fox tail to tightly strangle her neck. She angrily shouted, "Brother Spiritual Root, although he is a demon cultivator, he is kind-hearted and has always been helping you. Who do you think you are to dare to harm him?" But White Blossom let out a mocking cold laugh, saying, "Demon cultivator, kind-hearted? If demon cultivators are truly kind, how could my mother have died? I should have realized it long ago. Ever since you appeared, the demon cultivator who killed my mother also appeared. You are indeed related to the demon cultivator who killed my mother, right?" But just then, Little Jade suddenly shouted, "Stop! Your mother was actually killed by yourself." Upon hearing this, White Blossom instantly stood rooted to the spot. Then she shouted, "Impossible! I saw my mother being killed by the demon cultivator. You must be trying to deceive me with words, but Little Jade has spoken the truth. I am not lying." More accurately, it was the heart demon that emerged when you broke through the stage that killed your mother. Seeing White Blossom not believing Little Jade, he angrily shouted, "I didn't lie to you. Cultivators have a chance to generate heart demons when breaking through. Moreover, the stronger the talent, the higher the likelihood of generating heart demons. When you were young, you must have been too fixated on breakthroughs. This led to the appearance of the heart demon, and it killed your mother. The so-called confrontation between good and evil is the attitude of controlling the demon chosen by the demon cultivator towards the heart demon, while the righteous path is to slay the heart demon. What is wrong is never the cultivation method, but the person themselves." When White Blossom saw the whole person stunned, she hurriedly asked with concern, "Are you okay?" "No, Spiritual Root." White Blossom clenched her teeth and said, "I can't defeat you, and I don't even know if what you're saying is true. At the very least, I don't want to die at the hands of a demon cultivator. I'm sorry, I don't know if this counts as avenging you." With that, White Blossom suddenly exerted force with her hand. Suddenly, a splash of ketchup flew into the air. The boy tried to persuade the girl to calm down. He actually broke her beloved spiritual sword in front of her. Just now, after learning that he might be the culprit behind his mother's death, White Blossom resolutely chose to end her life. But she found herself unharmed, and immediately shouted, "No, Spiritual Root, let go quickly. Do you even want to toy with me even if I want to die?" However, No Spiritual Root firmly stated, "I have no intention of toying with you. I just want to tell you, whether it is good or evil, no matter what your identity is. But there is only one life, even if it is not satisfying. But striving to make it better is the meaning of our existence." And Little Jade suddenly spoke up at this moment. "And you must have noticed it too, right? It's right after Sima Moon appeared. Your heart demon will only be out of control. Rather than blame yourself and give up, you want to end it. You might as well find the culprit behind all this. Make him pay the price he deserves." White Blossom immediately gritted her teeth when she heard this. "Sweet words and clever talk. You are demon cultivators. Can I really trust you?" But Little Jade was not happy to say. The boy could never have imagined that he would be pinned to the ground and rubbed by the goddess. Just now, White Blossom discovered the issue of No Spiritual Root being a demon cultivator. Faced with her questioning, No Spiritual Root immediately panicked and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? I am just a junior disciple without even a spiritual root. How could I have anything to do with being a demon cultivator?" But White Blossom angrily retorted, "Stop lying to me. Although I was controlled by the demon cultivator just now, my consciousness was still relatively clear. I heard the conversation between you and the fox demon just now. You are clearly the young master of the demon cult. I finally understand the reason I couldn't train like you before. The reason is that these are all moves of the demon cultivator. You clearly know that I hate demon cultivators the most, yet you kept hiding and playing tricks on me. Is this really fun for you? Of course, demon cultivators are all like this. A group of monsters that only bring pain to others. Let me end your life. Although, no spiritual root avoided this sword. But White Blossom completely ignored his explanation and wielded the sword at him frantically. She saw that she couldn't even touch no spiritual root. White Blossom decisively used the deliberate heartless sword technique from the sword manual. The space here is too narrow, hindering no spiritual root's evasive maneuvers. He had no choice but to first escape before making a plan. Then, he decisively used the flower hand helicopter technique to quickly soar into the air. He was just about to make it out. But he did not expect that the gap would suddenly be blocked. The exit was blocked. With no spiritual root, he could only helplessly fall down, but White Blossom struck at him once again with a heartless sword at this moment. With no spiritual root, there is no way out at the moment. He could only resort to using the barehanded blade catch to tough it out. But he found that his arm was actually starting to turn pitch black. White Blossom immediately smiled when she saw the situation. Heartless sword is the essence of my inner resolve. The despair in my heart will also be transmitted to everything around through this sword. No spiritual root feels like he can't exert any strength in his hands. Seeing that they couldn't continue to stalemate, he decisively threw White Blossom up. The throw immediately smashed White Blossom onto the top of the tower. The just repaired top of the tower was instantly blown open. But before no spiritual root could catch his breath, White Blossom attacked again. As she brought down the long sword in her hand, no spiritual root was instantly stabbed to the ground by her. With a determined gaze, White Blossom pulled out the sword, tears in her eyes, and said, "Although you have been very kind to me before, I'm sorry, Demon Cultivator deserves to die." As soon as she finished speaking, the sword in White Blossom's hand immediately stabbed towards no spiritual root's neck. Just then, a fox tail suddenly appeared out of thin air. Little Jade blocked the fatal blow for no spiritual root. White Blossom immediately snorted when she saw this, saying, "You, a fox spirit, who is in cahoots with a demon cultivator, are really not a good person." But before she could finish speaking, Little Jade flew to her side. She viciously raised her hand and gave her a slap across the face, then quickly used her fox tail to tightly strangle her neck. She angrily shouted, "Brother Spiritual Root, although he is a demon cultivator, he is kind-hearted and has always been helping you. Who do you think you are to dare to harm him?" But White Blossom let out a mocking cold laugh, saying, "Demon cultivator, kind-hearted? If demon cultivators are truly kind, how could my mother have died? I should have realized it long ago. Ever since you appeared, the demon cultivator who killed my mother also appeared. You are indeed related to the demon cultivator who killed my mother, right?" But just then, Little Jade suddenly shouted, "Stop! Your mother was actually killed by yourself." Upon hearing this, White Blossom instantly stood rooted to the spot. Then she shouted, "Impossible! I saw my mother being killed by the demon cultivator. You must be trying to deceive me with words, but Little Jade has spoken the truth. I am not lying." More accurately, it was the heart demon that emerged when you broke through the stage that killed your mother. Seeing White Blossom not believing Little Jade, he angrily shouted, "I didn't lie to you. Cultivators have a chance to generate heart demons when breaking through. Moreover, the stronger the talent, the higher the likelihood of generating heart demons. When you were young, you must have been too fixated on breakthroughs. This led to the appearance of the heart demon, and it killed your mother. The so-called confrontation between good and evil is the attitude of controlling the demon chosen by the demon cultivator towards the heart demon, while the righteous path is to slay the heart demon. What is wrong is never the cultivation method, but the person themselves." When White Blossom saw the whole person stunned, she hurriedly asked with concern, "Are you okay?" "No spiritual root." White Blossom clenched her teeth and said, "I can't defeat you, and I don't even know if what you're saying is true." At the very least, I don't want to die at the hands of a demon cultivator. I'm sorry, I don't know if this counts as avenging you. With that, White Blossom suddenly exerted force with her hand. Suddenly, a splash of ketchup flew into the air. The boy tried to persuade the girl to calm down. He actually broke her beloved spiritual sword in front of her. Just now, after learning that he might be the culprit behind his mother's death, White Blossom resolutely chose to end her life. But she found herself unharmed, and immediately shouted, "No spiritual root, let go quickly. Do you even want to toy with me even if I want to die?" However, No Spiritual Root firmly stated, "I have no intention of toying with you. I just want to tell you, whether it is good or evil, no matter what your identity is. But there is only one life, even if it is not satisfying. But striving to make it better is the meaning of our existence." And little Jade suddenly spoke up at this moment. And you must have noticed it too, right? It's right after Sima Moon appeared. Your heart demon will only be out of control. Rather than blame yourself and give up, you want to end it. You might as well find the culprit behind all this. Make him pay the price he deserves. White Blossom immediately gritted her teeth when she heard this. Sweet words and clever talk. You are demon cultivators. Can I really trust you? But little Jade was not happy to say,